And me as a user, now I have this wallet, which I probably didn't even know what a wallet was. Maybe it's the first piece of digital property I've ever owned before. I guess now I'm assuming you can airdrop stuff to me in the future, et cetera. But this is the way you've now basically onboarded someone to Web3.
Yeah.
Is this the future of how people become parts of Web3? I mean, 2 years ago, I started a crypto and DeFi academy, and I literally take my students kicking and screaming from 18 years up to 85 years old, and they have to get a MetaMask wallet. They have to sign up for centralized exchanges. They have to go get these assets. They have to learn, and it's quite complicated.
Yes.
I did get my mom to do it, and I got my daughter to do it, and I sent them some assets, but it was difficult. And so the question is that the way that goes forward, or is it going to be done through a platform like Vatom?
I mean, I think there's no doubt that if you look at the history of new technologies, the breakthrough moments come when it's simple, when all the complexity is masked and you don't even know you're using it. What you know is you're getting value from it fast and easy, and value that you want to repeat, right? So it just becomes part of your life, not in a nefarious way. We're not trying to like infiltrate the world in order to sell you more stuff. We're trying to empower people to have a place to keep their stuff, starting with their own identity. So this is really interesting way to start. Now, it's just one way. Let's keep in mind that I would answer yes to your question that this is probably one of the earliest and most widely used mechanisms that we'll see, because every brand is looking to create better ways to communicate, right? But it's just one. Let's keep in mind that these dynamic digital objects are going to be the most powerful human communication tool since the introduction of the internet itself. So there are interesting gamified mechanics around the concept of loyalty and marketing, advertising, et cetera, but that's just one part. How am I going to prove where I got my diploma, right? Well, obviously, I'll get it as a digital object. That'll be soul-bound, as they say, meaning I won't be able to transfer it to someone else or sell it to my identity. And then I'll be able to show that, and I'll be able to release the access privileges to someone who wants to verify that. And I can say, I want you to know that I graduated from X, but not the year I did, or I want you to know the year as well. Like, I can control my identity, right? So that's something. Or maybe I want to prove that I own this house. Title will start to move this. Or maybe I want to make sure that I've registered my patent or my ideas or my AI model or what's coming next in terms of how my intellectual property is going to be recorded. Or maybe I want to have access or a ticket to something, right? So you're going to start to see that the obvious utility of this concept pervades every aspect of society. Yes, we're seeing the tip of the iceberg, but it really is the tip.
And you said to me earlier, zero friction. That was the key. So they scan the QR code. Very interesting how you said you don't have to download the app, because we've all been given the option to download apps and we've all skipped it many, many times. You wanted it browser enabled, so bam, it just pops up.
That's right.
They don't even need to know they're in a metaverse. They don't need to know they have an NFT.
Yeah.
They are just enjoying this new way of being human in a metaverse.
Yes, and metaverse in this parlance, as we were mentioning before, meaning a meta plane of reality on top of this plane of reality, right? You're having fun with other humans, flesh and blood people in the real world, and connecting to them using our devices and using the meta plane as a connective tissue. We're not sucking you out into some other place. Even some of the other examples that we can talk about, as you, rather than go wallet first, you might go virtual space first. We're really still talking about connecting to other people and this kind of communal memory that can come from that.
You mentioned quickly that your objects can do all sorts of cool things. They're smart contracts, they can be programmed. Give us a little flavor of what that might feel like. Because in the real world, not all of our objects are programmable, but I know I've been onto your spaces because I'm going to create, I think, a virtual movie premiere for a movie we've got coming out in a couple months. And I know you can do some scale, because I think the example we'll talk about had like 22,000 people there. But I know as you get close to certain objects, they turn on, they activate, they can appear, you can hear people as you get close to them and have conversations. But what does that look like?
So the objects themselves have certain qualities that come from, well, think about a Bitcoin, right? A Bitcoin has a permanence to it, right? There's been all sorts of issues that you might note for how Bitcoins have been used, or whether you believe in crypto or it doesn't matter. No one's actually broken and double spent a Bitcoin. You might steal someone's wallet. That's identity theft. That's different, right? So you do have this psychology of uniqueness with this type of technology and of true ownership. Like, this is mine. That's my wallet and my thing, right? So start with that element. In 2015, as I was thinking about this, late 2014, early 2015, I was really thinking about what would happen if you were to take this fungible commodity of a cryptocurrency and could actually distinguish between them. What if they can actually come alive with 3D graphics, animation, and sound, and start to have utility for different purposes? The first implementation of this was at my bar in Santa Monica, which is a beer. Like, what if I can make a beer and give it to you? I wouldn't have it anymore. And then you could put it on the table, and if it was hot, it would get warm, or you could give it to the bartender, and it would give you a real beer. That's called a coupon, right? What if I then got something for engaging in that, and that object opened up and gave me an Uber ride to a concert? And by virtue of having that object, I got entrance into that concert. That's a ticket. So you can now start to see that these things will apply in so many different areas. And what was evident even from the start is that when you have something that is unique, verifiable, and transferable, the first use case for something like that will be gambling, right? Because I can verify that there's only X of these in the world. I can have it look cool, like art or what have you, and then I could sell it to you and hope for your benefit you'd sell it to some other dupe before it bottoms out. Well, that's of course what happened. But we recognized early, I think, that this is so much cooler. It's so much cooler. That's 1% of this. 99% is all this other stuff. What can you do when something's programmable, right? And has the qualities of a real world object, a virtual object that has the qualities of a real world object, but not the constraints. What if it was also magic? One of the earliest projects that I saw built on our platform that gave me the sense of this magic was with Intel. Brilliant woman at Intel, Stacy Shulman, who had the insight very early on to say, there's something here that could really change the nature of human engagement. She started a project called Project Engage that used Vatom to release thousands of digital butterflies into New York City. This is early, before people even really knew what an NFT was. And these Vatoms are floating around looking like butterflies in augmented reality, and they can do anything, right? So imagine that they can change state based on sports scores, because they're programmable. They're connected to the internet. The Jets score a touchdown. They go crazy. They drop a Starbucks. You pick up the Starbucks, go into Starbucks, get a real one. You're now engaged in ways that you could never do with the other mechanisms. Not because you couldn't write it, just code. You could write anything. But now you have the psychology of ownership, like this motivation that didn't exist before, that underpins everything. And then you have the ability to make these objects, because they're not only programmable, but network aware. You can now make these objects conduits for communication. That's the essence of why this is so powerful. That's the essence of what we just described, is this communication channel that now arises on the back of what used to be a campaign, but is now a series of campaigns, or in other words, a relationship.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.